thank you for... Oh, head hurts. Time for fun. Let's make this happen. Made sure that the audio is working this time, which is exciting. Okay. Got a number of... Let's see how many runs of the boss we might need to do. Because, let me just see... Know that we gotta take down the dragon statue 3 or 4 more times, depending on how many drops I get. You know what? No, this wouldn't work without Chevy is the thing. The thing about the Kinich team is that would require taking the artifacts off of her, and let's see how well this does, even without her fully leveled. 2 AM for you? How are you doing? Nice to see ya. Just doing a few fights with a new boss who is interesting. They finally added a character with at least rudimentary combo mechanics, which is fun and exciting. It's interesting stuff, really. But how are you? Good to see you again. This team has a very, very tough rotation. If I go too fast, it'll actually... I'll run into my own cooldowns, which is very fun. Okay. And, oh, I can sympathize. There we go. The big thing about this boss is that, you know, the whole thing about this game is the elemental reactions. And one of the reactions in the game that is most reliably, or was most reliably, almost completely useless, was burning. Oh, I did not know that a mouse ate your crackers. But, may God have mercy on that mouse. But effectively, this specific enemy, there's some other enemies that are sort of connected. Essentially, you deal a bunch of fire elemental hits to it, it weakens. And the thing about burning as a reaction is that it deals a number of fire elemental hits. It's the only real sort of damage over time reaction in the game. And it's interesting. Because there are also a few characters that get some buffs from having it active. And it's interesting that the buffs that they did would have nothing to do with the actual damage of burning itself, but creating enemies that are specifically weak to it, and creating characters that are buffed by triggering it, rather than making the reaction itself more damaging. Which is interesting, and I think a better approach in the long run. The whole elemental system is a very interesting concept just design-wise. And when you compare it to, say, Star Rail or to an extent ZZZ, which is probably the closest equivalent, best point of comparison, in those games, their elemental system is really just a, maybe with some level of complication, just a Pokemon-style elemental weakness system. So you've got characters that are essentially differentiated by, and this isn't great, but I'm not going to afford to part with it. Essentially differentiated just by their element. That can be good enough because that means they're useful on different enemies, but the way that this game does it, and the way that I like it better as a result, is that the reason that different elemental characters are better is not because you use them against different enemies, so to speak, but more that they enable different team compositions, which I think is healthier and more interesting. Because amusingly enough, the best comparison to me would actually be Dungeons and Dragons. Because in Dungeons and Dragons, enemies with elemental weaknesses are not common at all. What you get oftentimes are enemies with specific resistances to rule out using certain elements, you know, to make sure you're not overly reliant on one, to encourage you to use different spells, weapons, options, etc. But very rarely is there going to be an enemy that's specifically weak to one element, and essentially force you to use one specific element or else suffer. And that's more akin to the way this game handles that kind of situation, which I appreciate, because it does just keep things fresher and more interesting. And this just isn't good. That said, I'm definitely going to have to make a better goblet. And I was hoping to get... This patch cycle, they gave you the option to basically increase your world difficulty to a level 9 when previously the maximum was 8. And that gives you the occasional possibility of getting 4 of an enemy's specific drop when you boss's specific drop when you beat it. And previously it was limited to 3 at max and most common 2. It's now guarantees getting 3 and gives you the possibility of 2. I mean, guarantees 3 and gives you the possibility of 4, which is nice, but it's got some limitations, I suppose. The guarantee is nice, and to be honest, at this point for me, I like the additional difficulty. Because as someone who's been at this game for multiple years, I think it might be a bit crass to say it was getting a bit easy, but it was getting more easy. Okay, so let's go and collect the last bit, and then we'll do dailies. So yep, all 4 sort of runs of a boss or a upgrade challenge was devoted to bosses, and now we get a 4 right when it isn't important, because I needed 29 specifically. From doing some more quests, I'll get a few more of her necessary boss materials, but we're gonna overcap a little, which is actually okay, because another character coming out next pack cycle. Here's this cowboy doctor, and oh, that's nice. Let's toss that blue right at the standard banner, and this is going to be how much specifically? But either way, he's going to use the same materials, so that's nice and exciting. As of right now, we've got 60. It's going to take us to 69 pity on the normal banner. Nice. So what kind of crackers were they? Wait, did I think I actually forgot to put some of the rolls on. That's funny. So this might be 71, actually, or it might be 69. Let's see what happens. Let's notate that, and what do you know? It's a character I've already got maxed out, which is okay, because this can effectively be converted into 1 roll on any banner, but of course you want to do that on some of the better ones, but either way, which on? So let us... Actually, let me do a count. Because life is painful, and I'm sleep deprived, and I don't always remember every single thing I do. So we're going through the old Citadel today. I was thinking about going to look for some of these 2 gals, new materials in the new area, but it'll take a couple hours more for them to respawn, and that will be a bit of a wait to begin with. So we just use 3... Okay, 3 today. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 18, 23, 28, 33, 38, 43, 48, 53, 58, 63, 68, and then 69, 70, 71. So yep, we're at 71 tosses on there, so getting 4 more. So of course you never spend, you know, soft rolls, essentially liquid currency on a standard banner. That is an idiot's move, but we'll see what happens. I saw my friends who are inveterate gamblers actually ended up spending liquid currency on standard banner because they're fools, but it is what it is. And wait, what? Okay, come on. Slam, and did that hit anyone? And that actually had really nice range. Interesting. Alright, let's get that. Go down there. The nice thing is that normally you'd want to use her as an on-field attacker, but what's interesting is that her actual... When she does her slash, not only is it good just for a bit of immediate damage, but it also gives a damage buff for the on-field character, which of course she can use, and she uses quite well, but you can also just switch someone in if you're using her as the buffer. It's very, very interesting, because talked about this before, but every now and then, when they add new areas, they introduce new artifacts, essentially equipment, and this essentially is built for the new characters who have this special Night Soul's Blessing state as part of their kits. Last patch cycle with the French region, they had various characters who had HP, self-healing, self-hurting, as part of their moveset, and notably, it's a strong artifact set that they can naturally make use of, but the big god character, that patch cycle, her whole deal was triggering HP drain on the whole team to turn into damage buffs, which in addition to synergizing well with characters already decrease or increase their own HP, or just have healing to compensate for drain, also meant that a lot of characters who didn't have the mechanic in their kit could now use this because they had HP drain from her. So a lot of people, myself included, expected the god, that Malvika, to have the ability to give everyone that Night Soul buff, so that everyone could use that kit like they did last time, but instead they just made her a selfish DPS, which, okay, I guess, within their rights. Anyways, and that killed them all, and oh, that means we actually don't get the second wave of enemies, which is kind of sad. I like a good fight. Well, alright. I'll live. It's interesting how they have hard-coded stuff to fall off of towers, because normally, at least at the start of the game, you're really supposed to use bow characters for that specifically. Back with the game as it was before. Of course, that isn't how it is now, but it's interesting to see the artifacts, so to speak, of the game when it was, to a greater extent at least, sort of, you know, free-to-play mobile Breath of the Wild. Though even then, that was only for the first area. You go into fantasy China, and it immediately becomes something very, very different. Which was in the game even from patch 1, but as the game went on, it did develop more of its own identity, which is an indubitably good thing. This thing is, she also runs real fast. And notably, she also has a certain amount of momentum physics in that if you run off a ledge with her, she'll go flying. You know, I'm not going to say that this is a Sonic game. I'm not going to blaspheme like that, but the comparisons have been made. She does kind of do a bit of a somersault. And not a spin dash, but, you know, a roll attack. Okay. See, and this is a simple, stupid quiz, and then we'll be able to go on to back to the Citadel. I think the best thing to do, just because it's fun to see, be to fight the local legend today with the team. Yeah. Oyasumi nasai, ototo-chan. I guess that's the way to say it. I suppose. But it's good to see you popping in, as late as it is for you. Presence is, of course, always appreciated. I will entertain myself in the meantime, so see you next time. Good luck with your ZZDZ endeavors that you mentioned last time. Check that out, and here we are. So then, could fight Bronzelock now, I suppose. And two. Well, most of this. I do want to go around some of the water, but we've gone on the water between all this. Isn't really much. So in that case, I suppose we could start the ground level. With sort of protrusions, maybe. Best way would be to go straight here first, actually. Put the other team back in. See how this goes. And the team I was using it was this team. One should have that stuff going. That is actually awfully close to the other bit of land. It's actually gonna work, but if we want to climb, this way is to use Malvika. Oh, but yeah, it kind of works. That's okay, but this is just to enable semi-infinite flight. That does go real high. Yeah, it's just the Tenatia up there as well. It's going to be interesting and fun and amusing. And let's do this. there is one of the Pyroculi I was missing. It's right before I get anything in the new area. There are 8 more scattered within Ochkanatlan that I'd like to find and consume. Consume, collect. What's the difference? 6 Idiot. And ouch! I was not expecting that. Oops. Don't hurt me, don't hurt me. And does work pretty darn well. Okay. Got that. Where is the next Coholasaur? Again, it's Chasca we should be using for that. Yeah, we can bite, depending on where we position ourselves. Stair step here is fun. So there are many Coholasaurs here. So there's one down there. Clear what you're supposed to do. Leap up and grab that after using the Coholasaur to get around it, but it's not that deep. And guess who just died? Yeah. Okay. There's actually a little bit to stand upon. So actually, we should put everything down here first, and thank you. Yep, stay right above the water. She can get Nightsoul transmission moves on water, I believe. We'll see. Anyway, here we are, some of that. Very, very good. Staircase, let's go around all this, and there was a spirit sconce just sitting right there. Okay. So that is... yeah, we're supposed to use a Coholasaur to navigate the area. See what happens. Hop up top, go to the next area. Should be good. I'm gonna start using Focus and soon. That's okay. Thanks. Thank you. Spin out. Still just incredibly nice to have. And here we are. Yeah, but Mora seems to actually be southwest of Volcano, and there's an island that's going to be added next patch, apparently. That's sort of a lead into it with a new boss, actually. Explains why this was so far on the other side. A lot of people actually expected the lava boss to be here, and I think a lot of weak footage actually spawned it there under the impression to be there, but it's another big island separated from the north, which is probably noted right over here, which... that might be the Frostmoon Scion Island. I think that's actually a pretty safe bet. So we can get the infinite focus from here. Drop down there and start gliding. Oh, but that's Furnace of Fiery Embers, and I'm simply an idiot. Okay. So this one over here. Also, I think we can turn off quest tracking for now. Okay. So, do a bit of Milani circumnavigation. Oh, jeez. Ferdinand Magellan. She might as well be. Not like I asked her. Here we are. Let's do this run. Number of Coholasaurs. Thank you. Nice. Let's check this out. Oh, and fishing spot right here, and not just that. It's got something notable right now. Something even a little ornamental. Or maybe just mental. Okay. Ochkanatlan Eastern Waters, a fishing point located in the eastern waters of Ochkanatlan, is considerable quantities of fish. Foremost anglers coming here to fish is considered quite dangerous. For this reason, the abundance of fishes here has been preserved for many a long year, awaiting champions who have mastered both sword and rod. Alright. Medaka here, and again, it's funny how they're pretty much everywhere, and their only real purpose is just traded in for bait recipes. Thank you. It was a sort of non-lava bait and the lava bait, I believe. The one was... It is spinel grain, so... Was there even another one, or was it spinel grain for all of them? It might be spinel grain for all of them. As I remember that there was a sort of boa fruit orange bait in Fontaine, along with a mechanical bait for mechanical fish. The fish in between mechanical fish and phlogiston fish is... Oh, I could always just check my inventory. I don't know. Thank you. So who in here is ornamental? It might be you. You're struggling a bit more than I might expect, given that fish shooting. Yep, it's you. Sugoi-na. Okay. Grab you. Do you like this? Thank you. And well, we actually cast it a bit too close. Not the easiest to really tell at this distance. Seem to maybe be daytime soon, in which case I should probably make sure this fish isn't one that disappears, because some fish are shared between daytime and nighttime, some are in mutually exclusive pools, and no, it actually wasn't that close. It's just relatively light around here, probably because of the general gray coloration that pervades in all times of day. Check, and... Where would the bait be? Not in food. Materials? Yeah, and yep, embergola bait, ember core flowers and wheat. Spinel grain and grain fruit. It's interesting that they're bringing wheat back, because this uses wheat too. Standard fruit paste bait. Lovely stuff. Loving this dark chocolate. Always do. Still honestly a little sweet for me. But it's really less that I dislike sweetness, more that I dislike processed sugars. Is when I had that 96, it was 96 or 98, one of those Ghirardelli super dark chocolate. The Lindt 100%, it wasn't quite just baker's chocolate, but it did feel a little perfunctory, I suppose. Oh, and that was ornamental too. The Ghirardelli, so it might have been just having some sugar versus having no sugar, but it... It's good cocoa and not just cocoa butter, really. Even totally unsweetened chocolate will have a sweet flavor, but not from sugar, but from the flavanols that are just naturally in the chocolate, without adding any sugar whatsoever. That's what good chocolate is. It's got a sweetness that isn't cloying and is entirely from the quality of the base material. You can good deal with this. And it's gray again, right? Because okay, this is far away enough. Didn't really notice that it's getting back to standard, not long coloration. Interesting. And I imagine this was originally a Pyroculus that I got many moons ago. Okay. It's interesting that, yeah, she doesn't get out of state. Let's see what happens. Alright, and yeah, just random ruined drake right here. I mean, Eon Blight drake that never... I wonder if that will ever wake up. Because it reminds me again of how in Sekhem Hall in Sumeru Desert, there are a great many Asimons just sitting there. There's also the Asimon in Oh, not here. And we will parcel, just to be funny, just to surprise you. But, and then the one at the end of the first Desert Areas questline at the top of the mausoleum. Those are all worth noting. Again, it's... When are we getting Mount Asus? Though it's not like I use pre-built PCs. Never mind. Furnace of Fiery Embers and another one down there. They should just have multiple Eon Blight Drake's attacks at once. Now that would be fun. At this point in the game, that's the kind of challenge that I need in order to not be bored. That or just really crazy local edges. Which, you know, to be fair, it sends us up and there's nothing really of note. But again, it's... all those warp pipes are remnants of oculi and such that I imagine I've long before collected. Okay. Yep, and that's a spirit way that will take us up here, where we will fight Bronzelock again, and right, okay, Mora Rock. So did I see this before and deliberately leave it for later, or did I just not notice it at all? Just question of the hour. Question of the century, really. So let's keep carving waves. Okay. Let's see. Going, and yeah, spirit waves right there. It's just part of the challenge I had to do to unlock Bronzelock's area. All these... okay. Yep, and the upper vent corresponds to the lower vent, and there's even a Kukasaurus right there. Okay. Let's jump. Uemado Omega. Yes. Sends us up. And unlike the fissures, the molten fissures with Tepetlosaurs, there's no way to get out of it midway. Just stuck. Okay. Do appreciate how she can air stall a little with just the bites. Yotto. Oh. And this is... You are actually even alive. Only your friends were here so we could have a more interesting battle. That's okay. Oh, good. Nice. Already dead. Oh yeah, staying close for the Citlali app is probably smarter in the long run, but that's right, we should be. Put this back on you. I could always go and craft an uncraftable bone, but at that point it's just... It would be mean to say that I'm done using Chasca, but I'm kind of done using Chasca. Or will be soon. Takes us up to nowhere, really. Top of that, if we haven't found a good way to get there before, but... Yeah, and Perma, Phogiston, long as we're in here, but it's just not a concern. Okay, cool. Yeah. So over there is something we can do with Citlali. Yep, that's just another way of talk. Again, we've gotten everything of note. Okay. And even things that aren't. Let us continue upon our merry way. It's about the same height as that one, actually. Okay. So do not die. That's all I request. Much here, and it's a matter of going up top. Let's read the document that we got on file. Right over there. Famous Traveler's Notes 1. Sheet of paper has already gone yellow with age. The script with words on it read as follows. Yeah, and these are all the Forges of Embers. Say that one of the legends called the Python King, the Sacred Order Transgression. The Lord of the Cinder City once used the ancient dragon's legacy to create the city above the city. Do not know how we did it, but the woven scrolls I found speak of a jade heart in the Furnace of Fiery Embers, as well as hollows that connect to the surface. Through all those hollows, if the records are correct, this place is what's home to, while more devices, but it looks empty now. It's like I'll have to continue my search elsewhere, so the secret source, I imagine. Say that the founder of the Sworn Relics Association once came to this place. It would be nice if I could find something of value here. Alright. Let's go up. Fight Bronzelock again for posterity and thoroughness. Thank you. And we went the wrong way. I used Mavica for this before. Let's let Milani do it this time. I don't imagine there's actually any... It's nearly vertical. It's fun. Any real cooldown that would make you miss... Oh, I think the cooldown is only to the challenges. Because it's not like they're the targets that they have to worry about as timing or mistiming. Challenges that they might want us to be able to mistime more accurately. A skill check. Here we are, and well, actually, this means we need to take some stillness back off of certain individuals. Few sigils around here for healing, but yeah, not that it matters. So it's an okay-ish team. Not really using this anymore. I don't need to fight that boss now. And it's Varesa and Janssen are fully leveled. I'll just use them instead anyway. Keenish is better, but not better enough. Fun, but exceptionally situational. Alright. Citlali, Bennett, and Chasca. And the utterly irreplaceable. Chotto nani? Chotto nani? What is it? Okay. Basically saying, well, what is it? Can't believe Citlali is a Dark Souls 1 PvPer. You know, maybe I can. Oh. Healing in. Very nice. This is what we like to see. Gonna keep you in place. Nice. Thank you. How about you break down? And we get this going. Do it, because otherwise we won't gonna get that up. Crit rate isn't amazing, but I worry. You know that sometimes Fab seems good. Chasca's actually got an energy boost, which stands here. And it'll almost always have a bit of elemental resistance absorbed. The nice thing is that when it's broken down like this, that's the one that we can do well. Primarily, just given all of Chasca's elements, you can pretty reliably deal damage, because it's only got one elemental resistance at any given time. Just a couple more steps to this. Yep, nothing all that special. We got all of your achievements a long time ago. That's okay. Now to get you out of the way. No hard feelings, right? Okay. We are. This team probably needs some healing, maybe. And, yeah, it's interesting that they've got the healing around when really, as in the sigils you can use for energy and healing, whereas If you just scan them with Citlali or Oron, those characters are the ones getting healed. It wouldn't be a matter of actively switching to an Itomi source specifically while inhabiting the character you want to heal. To actually get that character specifically energy and healing, which is rather unwieldy, but... yeah, exactly. Suppose that's one way in which the storyline would be better than the character. The ability to target a specific character for the healing and energy you get when you scan, as opposed to it having to be the Nightwind character in question. Okay, come on. Here we are. It's not that good at ascending. Okay, well, everything that's here of note we've gotten. I'll have to go back and fight Bronzy again. For old time's sake. Maybe even the... So, that is up in the sky again to Nati at this point. Don't imagine we'll be able to reach it anyway. Other than the teleport. That's fine. Let's actually get a little bit of healing up in here. Nothing too complicated. It's meant to use the stair step. And to an extent, Fontaine did do this, but I appreciate that. Oh, the older saurians are not completely obsolete in the new areas. Well, in the areas that came after their introduction, because this area is not exactly new at this point. Okay. Now we've gone over here, so it's... Do we approach on the bridge? I think we can do overland through up to Ashflow Street, then do everything below, and then work our way up. I mean, going back to here. Okay. A lot of stuff going on in this funky place. And they may show up under elemental sight, but they are all dead. The point that everything just phases through them anyway. Let's go overland. Gotta make sure we're looking down the sides. Ah, it's another warp pipe. Get Chasca Mario. Here we are. We've gone over there. Right. Sends us up a bit. Would have been nice to do this all the day of, but which was not to be. Did I do that one? Oh my goodness. Yep. Things are gonna get painful. Things are gonna get repetitive. Things are gonna get overly complicated. And that's okay, I suppose. That's what I'm here for. Pain. We'll say it again. Pain. Check this out and... Yup, a gate there that has remained shut. Come on. Gas tunnel, and our stamina is replenishing at least. It's pleasant. There are layers up top that I suppose it would be good to look into eventually. So now that we've reached... yeah, the statue. Let's go around down here. You walk around enough that we might miss you, actually. Let's just go do it right here, right now. Let's go use it. Should have done that suspension, but that's okay. Come on. Get that nutzel going, and that was a good idea. Nice. Thank you. And that melt was rather strong. Again, even just as a sub-DPS. Mavika's power, of course the weapon helps, but even if I just been given her the R5 Serpent Spawn that I've been carrying for God knows how long, or maybe even just a normal serpent spine. She's good. Maybe a little too good. Definitely a little too good. Yeah, it's interesting because Varesa, and it's very rudimentary, but I like the direction it's taken things in that she has a rudimentary combo mechanic. It's a step towards more interesting gameplay in the future. Question is, of course, how far that goes, but... So nice and low to the ground. And that's going. So we don't use your drops. There we are. Cool. Pipe over there, though, again, takes us back up top, but it's not like we haven't been there. Okay. I believe Aoife needs Saurian Banks too, so it's good that we're getting as many as we are, I suppose, but of course it's definitely oversupply. Better than undersupply, but, you know. Head on in and take it out. Will fully replenish Night Soul as well. Yep, exactly. Thank you. Well, in the sense that it essentially forces a use of her E. Let me go over there just to check. Pretty sure I've been there, but let's check. Been really here. And it... Oh, it's going over. Already been down to Nursery Nightmares, that's nothing all that special. Ready. As long as we're on water, it's good to go. Grab this up, go up top. We got a couple of Saurians down there I'd like to beat up. So let's do that. Prep the Citlali and Malvika first. Get our going. The funny thing is just that that means self-damage. Oh, here we are. Stay on top of the water, please. There we are. Good data to me. Put you in. Takes me up top and... Yeah, familiar enough. Okay. Seems familiar. Okay. So imagine if you could, like in a Souls game, leave pre-written messages for other characters and players. They really need something like that, and more illusory walls. That's the real secret. So they've had a few, especially in kind of Mora. And a number of doors that only open from one side. Ochkanatlan is nice, and it's got the other Souls trademark, which is the elevators to before, but no illusory walls to my knowledge, which is it's sad. I think every game would do better with a illusory wall added to it. Some birds. Yeah, that's for the birds. So Furnace, 1, 2, 3, right. Check what's all over here. Because right, go to the outlying fingers effectively, and then close in. That's right, there's this right here. Let's check that out. Not doing this in any particular order, really. But, well, we're starting on the outside and moving in, which is how I handled Desert of Adramaveth, too. And it's a great strategy, especially since it helped make things feel at the end as if they were wrapping up quite nicely, especially since the various things near the beginning tended to, in addition to being more spread out, going around in a circle, also just were less significant, so... Alright. Take on you, and there's a spirit conscious sitting right there. Yep. Cool. Nice, nice. Are they good? Oh, hi. Let's go in here. Kukasor. Takes us up top to... Oh, there's nothing. And oh, they're abyssally empowered. Interesting, but of course we can't use Kokalik anymore. Not that we have to, really. Yeah, I believe, if I recall correctly, the enemies outright wouldn't die unless you broke their abyss barrier. That might have been Economia too. It's just had so many pseudo-abyss mechanics, but they haven't added quantum. Will they ever? That's the real question. Because it'd be it would almost be more interesting if they just... made sort of any non-standard element like imaginary or quantum, just an elementless character with pure physical. It is notable that both light and darkness, to the extent that we've really seen them, have been correlated at least slightly with physical. Because you've got Yua and the Lightfall Sword. The primal constructs, which are presumably based, at least in part, upon either the Celestial Nail directly or... Nabu Malikata was presumably a Sealy? It's believed, and therefore connected to Celestia through that, but in some way, Celestial Power. That, again, is, presumably for partially just mechanical reasons, pure physical damage. So it's interesting. Alright. Yeah, it's 7 more oculi. Hello! How are you doing? Are you alive? Are you sleepy? Thanks. We got Mimesis. And it's interesting how they've got differently sized barriers. Different strengths of barrier. Okay. Keep on moving. As you can tell, I imagine we're just... Well, I'm just going around Ochkanatlan. All you can do is watch. How are you, though? Right. Power of Europe and sleep deprivation. Okay. I guess I am just becoming everyone's older brother. I'm okay with this. But I have farmed as many boss materials as I will need for Varesa for the time being. Because when I do the Tribal Chronicle, that'll get me a few more. Yeah, I appreciate it. Out of the various roles I could play, it's one of the ones I'm best able to tolerate. That is what I will say. We said that, so we gotta wait for that to refresh. Oh, luckily Chasca does not have an especially long cooldown. We'll do this. Let's see. Oh, and yep. After you load all the shots, because, well, he died. Thanks. Yeah. Do you want me to feed you to the wolves or the worms? I'll let you choose. To that, these sort of fingers. Let's go around here. These are separated enough from the shore. Okay. Yeah, it's about going around the bottom and then inside. Most efficient. I'm handling it kind of like I handled Hydramavith. Starting on the outside and closing in. Doing a nice big circle. But back when I went through and did everything in Samara, that was 12 hours. That was fun. Okay. You remember, don't you? Let me just check. Right over here. And again, just this is where the warp pipe is. It's honestly more interesting that the gas events aren't two-way. That they're strictly one way, and if you go in the end of it, it will spit you out a bit farther along, but it will not send you to its start point. It is more interesting than it would have been had it just been simple Mario warp type stuff. Okay. But even still, Chasca, Mario, Ifo, Luigi. Something like that. I'm not sure I fought this Mimesis last time. Either way, I'll do it now. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I made sure to check and correct that myself, because historically, I can't really rely on other people to be the watchdog there. Yeah, they also shouldn't have to, just... It's my job to pay attention to those kinds of things. But also, you're unreliable, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Okay... Let me see... Okay, and when are you not? Let's see, and let's go over his... All that necessary, because this is just a Yunka sword, but... Yeah, that burst and transmission gun. Nice. Thank you. Fun. Go around the bottom. Are you calling it a low blow because you're short? Now that was a low blow. Okay. Let me see. Should be around the bottom here. Yeah. This is not something we've touched. One measly Hilichurl. Let's just take you out right here. Oh, you... I was not expecting you to take notice. Not fun. Hi. Ouch. Oh, it's range of blocking. Okay. Don't be like that. You both know that you react better to insults than compliments. And here's another chest. Thought it never happened. Oh, it's still 91. Okay. Let's go around the bottom portion. Keep looking up to make sure we don't miss anything on the sides. Here we are. And, here's another. This will send me just up here. Nothing all that special. It makes both of us short. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go kamikaze on you. We're both dwarves. We're both midgets. Okay. Let me see, and over there. Yep, another Mimesis. Fun enemies. Even if it really does equate to just use Chasca and or other Nalon characters. Okay. I did not really take Italy to be a country of dwarves. In theory. Big Bang Theory? Yeah, the whole universe was in a hot, dense state. Or so it said. Yeah. So the band Bare Naked Ladies, actually, they named themselves that to basically trick people. Well, you know, I imagine you can guess. It was so that when they'd play bars and when they'd be put on the sort of signboard outside as playing it, you know, they just put the name and people would be confused and a little intrigued, probably, you know, unjustifiably hopeful, I suppose. But, and interestingly enough, that was always their strategy when they were starting out, even though they actually started out with a different name, and their original name was Free Beer. Yeah, the other thing about the Bare Naked Ladies is that they have a song where the frontman announces that he thinks Sailor Moon is hot, which, I mean, is another number of things, but also, you know, she's not exactly a straight chick. Oh, notably, it seems iframes actually prevent the application of attrition, so it's not like Riptown Corrosion. Interesting. Okay. Went through those rings already. If you say as much. Okay. We went here before. There was a Mimesis that was right over there. We interacted with it and it turned into a bunch of birds. And I don't know if... Yeah, it doesn't seem to have come back. I hope I didn't miss anything. I'm kind of worried. Okay, and another one right there. Can we just... chest maybe? I don't know. We can touch you. Going where? Let's follow you. Oh, come on. Doesn't quite work. You don't have enough vertical to go up that. I hate my super chunky slime. Did kind of point us in this direction, though. Which one? Citlali? Okay, let me see. It is interesting to see them taking a kind of similar approach to Varesa's design as Citlali's, in that she's undoubtedly a character who's meant to be inspire, for lack of a better term, a bit of a prurient interest in a certain fan base. But she also has a bit of a sort of girly cute aesthetic in a way that is, you know, appeals to the different audience, I suppose. Or at least is at least partially intended to, although, you know, it doesn't change the fact that, you know, it's still off-putting to a non-zero amount of people. Yeah. And you've gone here. So it seems that they just keep moving. Interesting. Let's just try it. Yeah, There's a game that I've heard of. Don't know if I'll ever play it. Probably won't ever play it, but called the Rumble Roses. You might have heard of it. I feel like if anyone would have, it would have been you. Which was basically a, you know, Japanese prodesu, you know, women's prodesu fighting game. And birds are back. Which way are they going? If they're pointed over there, let's chase them. But it... very, very strange. These various podiums, essentially, that the warrior there is posing on, and very, very weird. You know, I'm trying to find the right direction to go. But it is not exactly obvious. Because obviously it's moving between them. It's not as if we're... As far as I can tell, we might be locating a number of different ones. It seems to be one specific sort of warrior that's moving around. But it's quite strange. Let me see. Let me see. The bird puzzle. I'm sick of this. So sick of this. And... Okay. So it goes back south here. That's very, very obscure. I've only got about an hour and a quarter allotted. I don't want to waste either of our time at this point. Can't afford to. Okay. It should be down around here. Or so it is said. Touch of the withered arm. Shall not be far behind you. So wait. Hello? Okay. It's gonna be somewhere up top here. It might be a little higher, actually. Let's see what happens. My soul thirsts for battle and treasure. Mostly treasure. But also mostly battle. Okay, well we did do that 3 times, right? Right? Okay, let me check. I'm gonna go crazy. Come on. And I went up there and then it went down south again. If it's... says it should be over here somewhere. There was one that I already beat, but the birds came back or something. I am going to actually lose it. Gonna have to kill a goblin. Sorry though. Oh no, it went to the wrong one. It's right here. Never mind. So that's the problem. Me being stupid. Okay. Oh, hi. Hello. Just gotta touch it. Then you're gonna turn into an enemy we can actually fight. Okay. Wait for this to come back. Here we are. Hello. You seem to actually be on the stronger side. Pretty strong barrier. Nice. There we go. Cool. That took a bit more effort than necessary or expected, but that's okay. Okay. So this one over here should be next. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm a little bit sleep deprived. Just a little. Let's actually go to this one next. It's pretty clearly separated, and that's the thing. To rely on things being cleanly separated from the rest. Sleep deprived, just like you. Thank you. Oh, never mind. Oh, but that's the thing. You can kind of quick force it. That's fun. Here we are. Yeah, exactly. Blame the job I hate. Thank you. Thank you. Keep on going. Anything up top? And not here yet. Quite interesting. This is where we fought one of those Mimesis for Twisted Extension, if I recall correctly. Mr. Quentin. That goes up a bit more. Nice. So anything up top that I can see doesn't really seem like it. Keep on going. Surf around a little bit more. I am very excited for the point when I'll actually get to go in the volcano. Very excited to see how that's going to actually just go in a concrete sense. Big thing, of course, is there are 5 local legends they added in this patch cycle, which I'm actually a little surprised by because they've added just 2 areas instead of 3. This 5.2 added 6 local legends, 2 for each area. This patch cycle added 5 local legends with 2 areas, so 2.5 per area, so somewhat generous of them, but as a battle maniac, I like it. So we'll have to see how I may or may not just stumble upon them naturally. Naturalmente. And here we are. Going up a little bit, and infinite logistic. There are warp pipes somewhere around here, if I recall correctly. Down here. Just see. Oops. Maybe this wasn't the best calculation. I'm stuck at... Wait, okay. So that's where it let me out. Or was it because I was out of stamina? Can't imagine that would be it. Be funny, though. Okay. No, it is just right here. Guess you made a stupid mistake. Person who usually makes stupid mistakes. And not winning any prizes. Okay. Here we are. Let's see if there's anything up top here. Here we are, and... go up. Thank you. Jump. Jump. Just see. Do you find it interesting how they tried to make a pretty strict dichotomy between Ectomosaurs being for vertical and Kukasaurs being for horizontal travel? Especially since, outside of Nawan, there really is no purpose to, of course, the Ectomosaur scan, so it's good that they gave them some continued use. Let's go over and around here now. Okay. But again, the Tenatia. That's what's going to be really interesting. For here and... Wait. This inscription is left? What's going on with that? Tell me. Oh, okay. Thank you. Fighting multiple. That's shooting. Still more than good enough, but the nice thing is that Citlali's got good ER built. And oh no, that just teleports me, right. Okay. That's what was going on. I remember this place. Not my problem. Okay. That was fun to go through all these chambers. But it honestly surprises me how little... Hi. Honestly surprises me how little exploration progress was tied to those areas. Hi. Thank you. Let's sure be. Don't let your drops fall and... Okay, come on. Okay. Okay. Let's just collect these immediately. Lucky us. Lucky us. Okay. And then... I believe one of the... I don't think one of the Shrines of Depths was around here specifically, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, it is right down there. Okay, right. Of course, we got that a while ago. So there are 2 Shrines of Depths in the exterior volcano in Ochkanatlan. It's gonna be nice. Then, of course, it's just Marjavari and... Oh, 5.7 presumably. What is really interesting is that there's actually a new weekly boss next patch. So they didn't delay everything as much as they just delayed Chu'ulel, which the start of Natlan apparently was itself delayed, so it makes some sense. And now they're, I suppose, catching up. But it... That... Ah, right, energy from that fun. Going to see. What's interesting is that it's gonna be a boss connected to the witches. Its Hexens are related. Okay, you can be frozen, that's exciting. Oh, the shield actually works. Always fun when that happens. Come on. Here we are. And finish this off with the burst. Here we are. Nice, and we got our Phlogiston back. The Chasca's Phlogiston on kill. Which is really, really nice passive. Varesa having Phlogiston on food is fun. It's amusing. And exactly, character with 1 trait. But sending us around, interesting. So would the other 2 go to the same place or somewhere different? That's the question. Either way... So it's 2 pipes with the same terminus. I didn't even know they could do that. Makes sense, but still. The other one is not seen yet, which is good. Okay. Get up. Nice. Spoon. Don't hit me, please. Cool. We are. And that's another. And no, did it. Almost did it. That's fine. And it really does go to show just how non-representative my experience of almost everything in the game is, because I focus on horizontal investment at the expense of vertical. You know, plenty of people just... Everything related to Natlan has been suffering because they tried really hard to just keep using characters that they were already using when most Natlan mechanics are, for better or worse, intended to get you to roll for Natlan characters. But as someone who was going to do that anyway, it just means that I use the new teams in the same way that I would be otherwise. But of course, for people who play the game for one specific character, as much as I suppose the game is trying to disincentivize that, I do feel free. Okay. Those. That Ruin Guard is not active. Okay. Doesn't show on elemental sight, so there's nothing we can do to wake you up, I suppose. Get another in here. Just healing in energy, that's okay. It's interesting seeing how they reuse the animation and have their like go up when they're getting up, but it immediately goes out as soon as they actually get active, because you can't actually shoot their weak point. Because again, presumably they're reusing the animation. Like I said before, in most situations, to be totally honest, paralyzing a Ruin Guard is kind of pointless because its attacks aren't all that threatening. They're decently easy to dodge. And it doesn't reduce their resistance in the way that a lot of other enemy stuns do. Which is, I imagine, why they started making most enemy stuns reduce resistance, so that they'd actually be optimal to use instead of just brute forcing. But again, it really does show how fundamentally different the way I play the game is from other people. And the reasons I play different, because I like getting new characters, I like the gimmicks, because they give me incentives to use the new characters, even when they might not be built to the same level as the characters I already have. Because their ability to engage with the mechanics will give them a somewhat outsized level of strength, or at least compatibility with the content. But if you are playing the game because you like one character, specifically to use one character, you're not going to enjoy it as much, and let's go fishing. Ochkanatlan, fishing point located in the southern waters of Ochkanatlan, has considerable quantities of fish, but for most anglers coming here to fish is considered quite dangerous. For this reason, the abundance of fish here has been preserved for many a long year, awaiting champions who master both sword and rod. What about Sword and Shield and its Pokemon? That's what I'm saying. The real question is, and all the leaks regarding Legends ZA have not mentioned any new Pokemon. It's mentioned a bunch of Megas, but it's unknown to me whether any just regional forms or outright evolutions or new Pokemon are getting introduced. It wouldn't surprise me if none were, to be honest, because the fact that Legends Arceus introduced a number of new evolutions to older Pokemon also ties in with the fact that that was kind of Sinnoh's gimmick to begin with. Evolution, new methods of evolution, the Dust Stone and the Dawn Stone, for example, which it's interesting that we've never got a Dawnstone Pokemon evolution since. Though, to be fair, a bit of that is because it was only... Oh, and the Shiny Stone too. That it was explicitly for gender-locked evolutions, which haven't come back. You know, gender differences also being in part a gimmick of Sinnoh. Right. Let's make it nighttime to get new fish. One thing that was interesting about Legends Arceus, though I imagine this was probably mainly a function of localization being a bit different, is that for the first time really in any mainline Pokemon game, they actually referred to gendered Pokemon as gendered. They'd be calling Pokemon he and she rather than them, as had been them or it, as had been done in previous Pokemon games, which was also interesting. I gotta go back, probably restart the game with a new file, and actually beat it. That'd be fun. Let me see. The big thing would be figuring out how to transfer over some save data to make sure that I get to do the Darkline Shaman missions, which require sword or shield save data for Shaman, or Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl save data for Darkrai. And I just have Sword. I played the first 15 minutes of Sword years ago. Didn't really touch it after. That's also something I could do. Go back and actually play Sword. So that if nothing else, I can get a Zacian and bring it to the newer games to smack fools, but see how much I actually enjoy the experience. You know, games even more hilariously constrained than Sun and Moon and X and Y. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which I played Sun. I did not play Ultra Sun or Moon, which I honestly wish I had. But let's put Kinchi back in. Chance to use you for the first time in forever. Good R. But of course, everything in here has been collected. It's about posterity, because we played this silly little Aztec ball game, that's right. Let's just shoot into that ball right there. And still got the flame grenades, but nothing really to do with them. Okay, okay. Here we are. Should have looped down. Well, we've already done the ball puzzles. Let's go downstairs. It's fun doing another little once-over to these puzzle areas, even though, of course, there's just nothing to see anymore. Okay. Go back. Water over there, and it is just this teleport, huh? Right in. These... Right, they spin because they're on top of the secret source contraptions, but... There is no longer anything to... The ball is gone. Can't send that anywhere, but regardless, the platforms remain. Nice thing is, of course, you can go back and read all the good old lore documents. English Traveler's Notes 3. Sheet of paper has already gone yellow with age. Scribble the words on it, read its scrolls. Hall is determined the scrolls he used to surround this huge structure that surrounds the city. But it seems evident from my investigation that these halls actually pursued Ochkanatlan itself. Rather than say that these were built around Ochkanatlan to supply the city with energy, I should say instead that Ochkan piggybacked off these devices and built his new city atop the original one, which had been built by the ancient dragons. It might also explain why the scale of the underground areas. Some of the surface ones too, such as the width of the roads or the size of the buildings, or as they are, seeming to have been built for buildings that dwarf the average human. Which is to say, dragons. That just goes all the way up top. And of course to the level that was above us. This would... Wait, why is that back? That's funky. Though of course nothing's gonna happen as a result. I've already gotten that long ago before. Strange. And I have seen some quest-related things respawn in the past, and the most notable has been on Narukami Island. Some of the Oshimusha from Sacred Sakura Cleansing respawning, but that was interesting because it allowed me to actually refight them, but this is just... There's nothing to this. It's just silly. Okay, cool. So in that case, I suppose we'll continue working our way around. I might actually want to go over here, because this little beach area is also, in its own way, pretty neatly divided. There's a secret source dude over here that we fought a while ago. Doesn't respawn. Okay. Main thing is, of course, that with Milani in here, Chasca is operating at full power. But Kinich should be using useless animo bullets. More of them than she would otherwise, at least. So, these rocks? Oh yeah, Capitano over there. And this is the patch where we can get Pyrotrap C6. Not that it really matters. Okay. Okay. Let's keep on moving. This was another furnace. That's okay. Keep on dropping. Takes a while. Again, the Tenatia is currently the highest accessible point in the game. On par with Celestia, actually. And the lowest area that's actually in-world instead of being instance-like economy or Underground Chasm at Remoria, which we really don't have a point of reference for, is Nursery of Nightmares down there, which again is presumably a physically accessible portion of the Night Kingdom on the world map. The Night Kingdom area where you fight Night Soul Totem local legends is states that it's in Toyok Springs, but doesn't have a map portion to it, and it's probably placeholder might not be the exactly the right term, but I would not say that it actually represents its physical location in any meaningful way, shape, or form. Get over here. Get provoked. Hold on. I imagine this is your treasure chest. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Let's do something I haven't done in a long time and actually fully paralyze a Ruin Grader. Fun. You're in a pretty annoying position. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Doesn't require any kind of charge. And... ooh, ouch. Come on. Stomp. There we are. I'll wait for one more stomp and you'll be fully paralyzed. Come on. Nice. See, and completely immobile. Completely incapable of any kind of offense. This is really fun to pull off, but again, just like paralyzing Rune Bones. This, of course, takes much, much longer. It doesn't reduce its resistances. In terms of DPS, it's pure waste. Now the con he'd use a course. Okay. Some time ago, I saw a description of Kai's default outfit that said that he's a man who wears a corset, which... yeah. Didn't really think about that, which... it does befit him. If there's any character in this game who'd be a corseted man, it would be Kaya. There's really no competition. Okay. Interesting. Nothing around here, and of course we had to scan a big circle to open that up if I recall correctly. Let's see. Goes down to another furnace that we also went into before. Fun. And it's interesting how some of the gates that never, ever, ever open up still show up under Elemental Sight, which is interesting, because I imagine it is, in part, meant to be a sort of misdirection. In that they don't want to show you whether a gate will open or not just by inspecting it with Elemental Sight, which I respect. Maintains a modicum of suspense. Albeit only a modicum. Kind of really down here, so let's go down again. Move about halfway down, there was a... yep, right over here, along with some Pyro Crystal Flies. Hello. It's Traveler's Notes 5. Investigate that. Already gone the Yellow Age, same thing here. There's nothing to be found. Perhaps it has all been destroyed. It is said, after all, that the Second Power Archon once overthrew Ochkanatlan and entered Oshkan's rulership. The mechanisms that once operated here must have ceased at that time, but the most items also being destroyed. Woven scroll and records indicate that the core of Chu'ulel lies beneath the many hollows, while atop them is another core energy supply area. It would be good if I could find it. So presumably old and new cores of Chu'ulel. And again, we found everything here. That's just the elevator shaft. So, nothing to note, and exactly what you're meant to. I guess maybe the Ectomosaur's own jump would not be high enough, and we'd have to... Or at least not be as comfortable as using it after the scan. Thank you, glad they came back, and now we just... Yep, fly on out, because we've seen everything. Fun. Did this. There we go. It was back up top. Oh, to use Malvika, she would run out of flight time and her own non-phlogiston, additionally limited flight meter, which is still crazy. Long before. Got all the way up to... And that's right. I think that was the teleport, but I know that originally when we did this, it actually took us to the top, to this island where we fought that secret source sentinel. But it seems that this time it's not an issue of note. That's okay. Let's keep jumping. Chasca needs a heal, and I don't feel like wasting chicken, so... we will use other means. Okay. Thanks. And I see another secret source platform right there, but I think we will return to... This little island is over here, but it's not consequential enough compared to all of this, really. Get a quick heal and then keep going around the lower shore level. Cool stuff. Lots of trash artifacts, too. Again, it... gotta use a good number of these for Yansan's Cinder City set. Alright. The real question is, of course, what if anything is good enough? And once I get some cons, I might actually be able to switch this to an energy recharge attack stance. The one thing about that, though, is that the energy recharge stance is what allows her to be decently usable even in non-Varesa teams, because she's good enough that I'd like to be able to use her on other teams eventually. Let me just see, though. Varesa, very, very standard. It's just electro damage with... Electro and then both crit stats and energy recharge, ideally, but... anything within two of those, and this is actually not that bad. Charge, crit damage, and attack. Cam is interesting. Some of these are known quantities, some of these are not. I'd like Varesa to be strong. But to be totally honest, I've got so many artifact juices at this point that, to be honest, it would be a waste to not use them for goblets on relevant DPS characters. But we'll see what happens. Go up here again, probably reach Ashflow Street. And then, really, the top levels up here are separated enough that I can probably honestly take those on their own when I'm already going up in portions of Ochkanatlan that already go that high. Maybe. Without going out of my way to reach them. But again, we'll see what happens. Use that for a jump, really. Right, this Mora rock that I left for later. Boy, would I be an idiot if I had totally missed that and never picked it up. Could have happened. Grab that. We need a bit of line of sight, but it's not that strict. Isho. Scarata. Check. And up here it's just floating rocks. All the way to heaven. Actually, a good deal less than that. Thank you, and yep, other more rock that I also left for later. On one hand, it means that I'm not just pointlessly retracing my steps when I do stuff like this, but it also means there's a chance that I'll not otherwise be there of outright missing things. Boy, isn't that great. Another Mavica Chasca flower that I imagine isn't really needed at this point. And again, that shows up under Elemental Sight when we never unlock that. It's interesting. Go in, sends us back up, one-way warp pipe. Which in that case, I guess warp pipe might not be a particularly accurate term. Okay. Corn. So that sends us up here close enough to get to the second one that's midway. Cool. Candle cap and don't get stuck. I surmise. Let's keep looking. Yeah, it seems that part of tomorrow is going to be taken up by Ochkanatlan as well, which I suppose it could be much, much worse. Probably do a bit of that after we do the Varesa quest. Thank you, and ooh, lots and lots of new guys. Yep. This is gonna be fun. Spin out. Right here. And they're all dead. Nice. Honestly, I don't even know what I was pointing at. I do appreciate that the updrafts that they create when they attack you can actually just be used as updrafts for movement. It's fun. It is about as close to the game will ever get to immersive sim status, I suppose. And why do you have half HP? Whatever. Oh well. Here we are. Simple enough. Let's take a ball. Two of... I believe it might have been this patch cycle that they actually significantly increased the drop rate of Chaos Core, Chaos type materials. Well, the ones that are specifically from Ruin Guards, Ruin Hunters, Ruin Graders, which it's honestly more interesting that they all shared the same set of materials. This should be connected to that treasure chest. Oh well. Enough of you that we may as well burst because we'll probably get our energy back. Oh, and you... That's a surprise and not a pleasant one. Okay, come on. Fun. Okay, and we go. Thought we'd be able to freeze you. Was not to be. Luckily, way to break it. Come on. Come on, don't shield, don't shield. There we are. Finally. Thanks. Cool. Did I ever mention that I hate surprises? Probably tell. And here we are. Here we are. A few more flamingas. And I did go here. Right, let's change our border markers then, especially since my memory ain't what it usually is right now. Saying used to be is a bit overdramatic, but brain-addled. What a brain-addled. Thank you. Thank you. How are you gonna do this? How are you gonna do this? We could just go in a nice big circle and sorry 999 Arlecchino. But now is not the time. Especially since I imagine they're gonna just try to ask for Varesa mats, which I am not interested in giving out at the moment, and they might not even be respawned yet. To be totally forthright. Thank you. Right, but we still haven't gone down around the entirety of the island down here. So let's do that. And then start looping clockwise around the base of Ochkanatlan, which that might be all we can manage. Probably is. Okay. Some more U's over there. This is where it... about where it stopped. I think, yeah. Last time. Little different. So let's continue moving. Funky place. Puzzle over there that's going to require a Tommy store eventually. I'll do that eventually. Continue our flight and yep, move over here. Reminds me that many moons ago there was this Roblox game that I would play when I just played on my family laptop and didn't have a PC to actually play real games, quote unquote. It's called Free Flight, and it... oh. You could use gliders, planes, helicopters, but the notable thing is that you could actually grief in the game. There really is nothing quite like Roblox griefing. And the way you do that would be... essentially, you could set a self-destruct function on a helicopter. And then if someone was in it with you and they didn't notice, they could end up getting blown up, and it would actually kill them. And of course, this was a game that was not combat-focused, so it was not really a... you weren't intended to really be going around killing other players. But one thing you could also do that was even more fun was to straight up just drop a self-destructing helicopter on them like a bomb. Especially if they were in a little plane or something trying to take off. And then it would blow up and it would destroy their craft with it, it would destroy them, and just generally ruin their day. But when I was younger, the absolute just... I think calling it proud may reflect badly on me in a way that I might not want it to. But my fondest moment in terms of Roblox griefing when I was younger was... oh, I forget what it was called. It was some sort of, you know, adopt and raise a baby or pet kind of game. And it was not... there was not any way to inflict damage to other characters, but of course, since Roblox began as a sort of building, fighting game, etc., they can't really turn off damage, health, death, unless you really go out of your way to do it. Devs can't do that unless they really know what they're doing and specifically want to. But what's notable is, thank you for the follow, Safi54. How are you doing? I'm talking about a friend request from somebody, and that's 999. Interesting. They're probably trying to level up their Varesa, but unfortunately I am too. It's a cruel world out here. But as I was saying, my absolute finest moment in terms of Roblox griefing was some adopt and raise a baby type game where the only way to ever inflict damage or hurt another player was, to get them to fall off the edge of the map. Which, you might think, okay, how would you do that in a game with no weapons? No real way to really use attrition to get them to move there and maybe fumble off. Because, of course, the real stupidity is that the devs did not bother to put any kind of wall, invisible or otherwise, around the edge of the map in a game that was not a combat game. And, of course, voiding out as a way to die is just hard-coded. There's a kill plane that you can't really take out unless, again, you go out of your way to remove it, and it is really silly that I imagine that they were a kid like me as well, but they didn't take out the kill plane. They didn't put any kind of wall or invisible wall around the edge of the big floating island in which this adopt a kid, adopt a baby, adopt a pet game took place. And as a result, I was able to use a stroller, which the stroller in the game was... Okay, this is just the level of Asheville Streets. We can get here normally. I'll do this later. But if someone jumped in a stroller, their character would be attached to the stroller, and the stroller would be attached to the person holding it. It was a sort of abnormal tool that was actually built out of sort of Roblox blocks, so to speak. Basically glued to your character's arm, their arm would stay out, and there would be this big block-built stroller on it you were supposed to use to carry a pet or carry a baby, a kid, what have you. But of course, the issue with that is that if a player was in the stroller, they didn't really have any way to leave. So what I would do is that normally they'd have to jump into it, but if you positioned yourself very, very precisely, you could take out the stroller in a way that it intersected with another player, and it would get them stuck on it. And sometimes they'd be able to, with spamming jump, after long enough as spamming jump, usually it would enable them to escape. But in most cases, they would be well and truly stuck long enough for me to drop them off the edge of the map. And this led to a lot of people complaining, and to the point that the developer had to go and actually patch the game to just enable people to leave the stroller tool just at base. There was no way to keep them stuck in it. And that is how I griefed so hard that a game was actively patched because of me. And I am going to say that I'm proud of it. It may not reflect especially well on me, but I am proud of it. So there it is. There it is. That went up. There's no way under, it seems. So we'll just have to... No, there is, but it's not one that really matters, so we'll just keep on moving around. We got more of you over here. Okay. Check, check. Another Yunkasaur. That was getting the platforms to move. We did that already. It's not my problem or my responsibility, so we'll let that sit. Nothing to really use these flame granites for, which is also sad. Come on. Sub DPS Malvika again. Absolutely overperforms. Again, not a complaint. Simply an observation. Okay. Another Chrysanthemum, which again so far has only been used. Oh. Chu'ulel. So Escoffier next patch is actually using barrel conks, which to date had only been used by... What did Sigwin use? Sigwin used Remerodon flowers, that's right. Barrel conks have only been used by Charlotte. So they really do put specialties in the game as a long haul kind of thing. Do actually like that. Again, it keeps use, and again, that door never opens, but to ensure that they don't spoil that one way or another, they do not have it not show up under Elemental Sight, which is fun. Right, more chrysanthemums, and again, got that chest there by raising it with the platforms, and now the platforms are all gone. They've outlived their usefulness. One of the more tragic things in this world, really. But that's okay. And so transmission is nice. Soul transmission. Keep on moving it. That already killed. Nice. Again, that iridescent inscription is only for moving you over to the underground furnace. There's a chest right there, and that's what it's pointing at. And a very nicely placed Hieroculus. Oh, and now that we move the platform, it's not even there. Okay. The hook that was previously there is no longer there. So let's get everything nice and spread out. Make sure we hit everyone who needs to be hit. Thank you. Again, it... How many more Saurian fangs could we ever presumably need? Ever. Over that way as well. Is that one of the platforms? I actually don't remember. And just one more. Let's jump. Very nice. Grab that. That's it. Got Tatsuzo. Try to get as much damage as possible because they have got their shields. Hello there. And the supplies gonna work, and the transmission for another shot going. Very nice. Yeah, the damage doesn't matter. Not the burst. For all its hits, that's not so. Not especially damaging, but it's not so. Maybe one day, on a whim, I'll go get Chasca's bow, so if something other than Yonson's pole arm to use all of those leaf coils on, but it's not a priority, of course. Another furnace there, and that's right. We also got lava fishing. Fun. I should hopefully be able to go all the way around the edge. The shore before tomorrow. I mean, before the end of today, and then do topside tomorrow, because topside is got some verticality to it, but it's, of course, a more constrained geographical area. See what's going on. Let's see what's going on. Come on. More than that takes me all the way up top. Where we need it, and another pathway linking back to that other little keep with the platform in it. Fun. Chest up somewhere. See an Oculus as well. So much stuff that just floats for no apparent reason. It's funny. So a couple of gravel points here. I could use... Let's bring Keenage back in. It's the principle of the thing. You don't get nearly enough time. Thanks. And let me see. Like that. What is that gonna do? Do a little bit of damage to us, and oh, I imagine, though again, it's been a while since I did this. Oh. Moving the platform inside, and I imagine there was a platform there. Made that gust show up. Probably. Let's go up, and I believe it was close to an Oculus that I did not pick up before. This goes up to here, but of course we can access it when we actually just explore the upper level as well, so leave that until the proper time in the interest of going through things as systematically as can be done. Okay. Fun stuff. Should be. This is where we saved the baby saurians, that's right. Sheer cliff faces. And this time, nothing was detected. 94%. Which means that we're a good way off. Because when you're at 100, that means you're a little bit off. So, when it says 100 first, that's when you're a little bit off. Sticking to using the compass, but... Which, of course, means that I'm not collecting seeds. But it shouldn't matter much. Even if you can pick up 40 seeds at a time now, the rate at which they can be actually farmed is lackluster, to wit. Let us... It's actually Citlali first. Really not all that necessary, but again, it's that damage. Really should have a buff to... Oh, that's right, Citlali Bridge. Buff to freeze duration from EM, because, again, it... And to be totally honest, that's probably why Mona's C1 still continues to be completely useless. That I imagine it essentially works via going through the same mechanism by which Elemental Mastery increases reaction damage. Some sort of virtual EM increase when assert for the triggering of a certain reaction, but Freeze presumably had the effect of EM on it removed sometime in development. But when Mona's kit was being worked on, but before the game was finalized, and as a result, not having a way to actually do the stated. Thank you. Let's keep on moving. And we got it. Oh, just actual Tapatlosaurs doing Tapatlosaur things. Impressive. So if I were to... keep on shooting. Or switch to shielding at anything where we want to be climbing here. Doesn't really seem like it. I imagine it's just for visual variety. But of course, let's put the actual character in. Shalonen. It is interesting to think about why, besides just, you know, Glazed Fantasy China region, that Geo is sort of the first listed, other than also, I suppose, like, something had to be the first. Well, something as good as anything else. Okay. Thank you, and we got lots and lots of Gasaurs. Okay. Enough of you, then again, let's go for the transmission. Cool. Let's keep this going. Couple of you. It doesn't seem like there's a chest though. It's fine. And shoot. And it all focused on one. Which means you have been summarily ignored. I was worried for a second you get help. No, that didn't happen. Good. Yeah. Break these rocks and then go to the other furnace, which should also be fishing. Nice. Okay. Cool. There is enough Ochkanatlan that tomorrow will also be Ochkanatlan. And last time was also Ochkanatlan. So there is simply that much Ochkanatlan. That said, this had been a 4-hour midday one instead of a 2.5-hour late night one. I don't know. Depends on how long this would all take. I can see it working though, and I did this. Okay. Let's mark that before I get all stupid again. Go in here. It just hasn't happened since that one time in the big Monitu Grotto, but hello? Hello. Ah, yep, and it's a respawning tremor that just has crystal flies. Cool. This will work well enough. And we see the tremors. Okay. Even though, you know, R.I.P. no Tepet also. Of course, Mora could surf on this, but that's not what matters right now. So, you know, I use Shunin, but I imagine that means that Mavica could also hit the sort of rock switches for a puzzle like this, or the one that was here. Yep, Ochkanatlan, western side underground, based on the association's surveys and hypotheses. Liquid phlogiston fishing spot has been confirmed to exist underground in the west of Ochkanatlan. It is an extremely dangerous location, and it seems that almost no anglers have ever reached it, much less made a catch. For this reason, the abundance of fish here has been preserved for many a long time, awaiting champions who have mastered both sword and rod. Oh, so interesting. Usable in this body, but it's still. Yep, Ember Glow. Fun. Yep, no. Spinel grain, just the Ember bait. Let's get a little bit more chocolate. Not because I need the energy, even though I do. Just because I want it. Come on, get out of the foil. I swear. Imagine if trying to get chocolate made me miss a fish. I'd have to kill the chocolate by eating it. Again, we've been here before, but go through all those furnaces again for posterity. Of course, can't really tell what time of day it is underground, but that's life. This might actually get me somewhere close to what I need in terms of magma fish for the Final Fishing Association reward, which is, of course, the not one rod. But it's just... when they added lava fishing, finally became Fantasy Life. Speaking of which, new Fantasy Life in about 1.5 months, which should be fun too. And that one is ornamental, but of course so constrained underground that I can't exactly get close enough to, well, get far away enough for the light to show. Check. Keep on moving. Got you right here. Come on, get in. But yeah, the game Fantasy Life for the 3DS and its very silly iOS port, which I never played. Some people who come here in chat actually have played it. And the most interesting thing about it to me is that, like plenty of other life simulation type games or other games like Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV, they had gathering specific jobs, but... Or in that game, lives, so to speak, but... Oh, it... Main thing is... Okay, and there was about one left. So the pools of fish did not entirely overlap between day and night, but they mostly did, it seems. But instead of just being, okay, you cut trees, you fish for fish, you mine rocks, and of course that was the most of it. There were boss rocks, boss trees, boss fish that would regenerate their health, or, yeah, for the durability of a tree, or a big ore deposit, or in the case of a fish, I suppose, just get their sort of stamina, I suppose, back. Elevator's back in service. Don't crush me! Imagine if getting crushed by the elevator could actually deal damage to you. That'd be fun. Oh, and that phlogiston pool was shallow enough that Malvika could actually just sort of elevate a motorcycle wade in it instead of going on top. That's funky. And that... They might have changed that before, but how did you get through the first time but not the second? That is really screwy. But again, it's just... These are all areas for which I've... Wait, you're kidding? There was a Mora rock here last time that I actually just didn't see. I don't think I left this for later. I just didn't see it. Yeah! That's nice. Famous Traveler's Notes 4. Found some discarded records. They may have been left behind by people most ancient indeed. Yeah, I haven't read this. Well, perhaps my records too will one day regarded by people from the future as some ancient people left behind. Exactly. You are ancient now. Now. But enough of that for now. I found some clues regarding what must have happened back then. Your rights is arranged by that poor fellow with only half a face left. We must first shut off the power to the city. Which probably would be Ochkan. Person with half a face left sounds like some character to a horror story, so Ochkan was the king and the rebel against himself. Based on this description, the homes were shut down by human action. For that, we need to cut off the combustion device's core energy supply area, such that a Grand Alliance Ordnance Officer can take advantage of the cast to bring that person, the Great One, probably the Crimson-Eyed Youth, I believe. For the Royal Hall, the one to whom this task has been assigned is that half-faced felt. With any luck, he'll be more reliable indeed than in word or plan. I'm not sure I've heard mentioned the position of Grand Alliance Ordnance Officer somewhere before. In any case, the group that shut this place down appears to have headed to a more important core area. If I can find something there, the top prize from the Historian Relics Association will surely be mine. That way, even the fact that I didn't get permission to pass the fire for the clan blockade, to sneak in here and conduct research will not open me up to criticism. This is again the story of the rebellion against Ochkan, but... Yeah, I'm glad I went back here to survey things, because I would not have found that Mora rock otherwise. And is it a particularly sizable quantity of Mora? Of course not, but every little bit helps when you level every character in the game. Or level every character you can get at least. Desafortunadamente, Ayato, Nilu, Ayaka, Ito, Kokomi, and Kui have still hitherto evaded me. Really is a question of just when we'll get the Inazuma Chronicle banner, because a lot of people expected it to be Mizuki's patch cycle, and it simply wasn't. And then, we got Mondstadt, we got Wii. Don't imagine we'll get Mondstadt again anytime soon, maybe even ever. Though, of course, the only character I need there is Klee, so yeah, is Klee gonna get a solo rerun? Are they gonna do some kind of, Star Rail type thing where after long enough, characters who are limited, kind of old, and frankly underperforming get added to standard? Because that would make sense for Albedo, for one. Given that Chiori has supplanted him in a number of ways, mostly. But also just since Genshin has a elemental reaction system instead of an elemental weakness system, crucially. And just really being a real-time game means that it's a good deal less vulnerable to power creep in general. even older characters, except for Corey, who's always kind of an underperformer, still hold their weight. Still hold their weight. And hold their value. So yep, this went in the right direction. 3 is what it dropped. That is the maximum, so there's nothing missed. That's good. Could get that Kukasaur. See, we'd have to drop down from the top level to get there, but shouldn't be a problem, of course, when we're actually going around the upper levels of Ochkanatlan, which, well, that's only 3.5 levels. It's tall, but most of that height is devoted to shells, which is internal areas that are mostly empty, so bit of a paper tiger, maybe. Okay, come on. Keep on going, keep on going. Go around this way, around back, up around here, then we'll up around this way. I think we've got enough time with the things that we'll probably have to fight along the way to... We're back down here, which is where I began my circumnavigation, and then it'd just be Ashflow Street, climbing up the central tower, going through, I suppose, Core of Chu'ulel, and even deep underground, but aside from a few enemies we'll beat up just for fun, there's not really much left in those areas, and again, what is specifically up with these? Yeah, and they don't glow under elemental sight, so they're not physics objects, they're purely decoration, but of course it's just, you know, what is going on with that Coastline is probably there, so we can reach Nursery or not, that matters much. Okay. Chasca. No, come! Chasca. Come on. Here we go again. Got more soaring things that I could ever conceivably need. Fine enough by me. See a warp pipe over there. Oh, infinite phlogiston. So if you're using Chasca to go over the water, which is also a perfectly viable option. The Chasca option. That's... Oh, that... I never even noticed that you can actually inflict a few hits before they even put their shield up. Ah, very interesting. And yep, as non-elemental enemies, at least at base, they are of course at base, they just drop non-elemental particles. Okay. I'm here. They're in another fishing spot for people who fish. Man, I love fishing. Okay. Go around this way, another little keep, so to speak. It's sad, you know, because I imagine all of these people are trying to get Varesa materials, and it's just... Sorry. I need them too. Ochkanatlan North Shore. Fishing point located on the north shore of Ochkanatlan has considerable quantities of fish, but for most anglers coming here to fish is considered quite dangerous. For this reason, the abundance of fish here has been preserved for many a long year. Waiting champions who have mastered both sword and rod. Didn't even have to read that this time. Okay. I actually need to craft some more bait soon. Do that, also gotta send a few more furnishings through the pipeline. Get that ready as well. It is getting hotter. Wow. I might need to actually fire up the old fan and bowl of ice water combo sooner or later. Maybe. Fan is nice and quiet, though it does cause some mouth movement even on That was too close. Even on its lowest setting, but it's a soothing oscillation. That's what I'll say. Daytime again, fish, salmon. Again, it. When all the phlogiston fish I got from that one fishing point, one would hope that I can get the nylon fishing rod now. But of course, in this wretched world, nothing is guaranteed. Thank you, thank you. Let us make it daytime. No NPCs in here, so I don't need to worry about daytime or nighttime changing the NPCs who show up. Cool. More rapid fighting fish. Though again, they're amphibians rather than fish, which... The unicorn fish that were probably in the event last patch cycle, the big competitive fishing event, net fishing event, probably a reference to real-life importation of axolotls from Mexico to France, especially since they were in Fontaine. But these being salamander-type things, probably a axolotl-type deal too. It's Quagsire. Come on, come on. Yeah, that's what they should put in Legend ZA, a Mega Clodsire. You'd actually get and play Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, I do wonder if they might put out a sort of Nintendo Switch 2 Upgrade Edition. Because that's something that's already been mentioned. Although not specifically announced, just offhandedly referred to in a way that people could glean information from it, that certain Nintendo Switch games will receive upgraded and updated editions on the Switch 2, which of course the question is, will they do that with Scarlet and Violet, which are infamous for performance issues? The easiest thing to do for them, to make money really, would be to make a Tears of the Kingdom edition, Switch 2 edition, maybe even with some updated content, which... that might be scummy. Though that might actually end up having been the reason why we never got any Tears of the Kingdom DLC. We'll see what... we'll DLC what happens. I should be shot. It's actually pretty interesting that Citlali keeps that buff even when you switch out from her. Let's actually see if we indwell, take that. That boosts the Saurian. Doesn't boost me. Alright. I've always tried to use Auron or Citlali rather than the Saurian itself, and usually can do all the same things. Notably where it couldn't was with... what's her name? The gal who always gets trapped in that one 3 times. Bronzelock. The one time where she was trapped in the cage in front of the fighting Saurians, you had to actually indwell an Ictomisaurus. You could not notably simply use Citlali or Auron, because the idea was you'd have to... basically you had to fight off a couple of other Saurians who were dueling, because... Konaloff was her name, right? Not Bonaloff. Konaloff. She had been idiotic and actually bet wrongly and lost so much money that she got imprisoned. Probably gonna be sold, frankly. Awful to think about. Due to her debts to the gamblers, to the bookie. And you had to essentially win the fight to free her. And the fight would only start, and the idea was essentially you're supposed to use Spirit Speaking to create a projection of an explosive barrel and use it to blow up the Saurians. But notably, the Saurians would stay as NPCs, as in not enemies that you could actually fight until you actually indwell the Saurian and approach them as a Saurian. So there was no way to only with Auron and Citlali free her and do that little objective. You had to actually indwell an Ectomosaur, and there was no other way to do it. Which was interesting, because in every other case, it's just Citlali and Auron being superior alternatives, especially Citlali. So, interesting decision that they made in that specific instance. See how many will come around, let's get this all ready, and I'll go up and over there. Thanks. Yep, and it's hit scan, so your movement makes no difference. Very, very good. Thanks. One more set of shots, and there we go. Get the chest, and oh, it's the one singular hilichurl over there. There's nothing good in this world can last. Oh well. How about you die? Very nice. For me, not you. And that... Yeah, it's very interesting that... And it's probably because they're some of the only enemies that will regularly just stay flying and not really actively pursue you. But when they're just flying, they don't have an active hitbox. And that's true, I believe, makes sure that you don't have a weird floating spirit sconce in most cases. So they don't have that, like how that looks. It does look pretty unnatural. Notably, and of course it's Conioff again. When you free Conioff from the cage, well, try to, over by the hot air balloon, you can... Oh... A Kukasaur steals the key to the cage, and you can actually chase it down. And of course, the easiest way is to indwell it, but notably, unlike other Kukasaurs, it remains damageable by attacks, even while it's in flight, which gives you the ability to actually spawn a spirit sconce in midair. And it does just float there, which otherwise is not something the game lets you do. Sends us up there, but again, not really our problem right now, not our objective. 6 more. Hierarchuli and Ochkanatlan. Somewhere, anywhere. Let's go around the shore, and then again, once we're actually on the upper levels, next time I imagine we'll go and hit all the upper levels here. Yep. Not separate enough, and I don't have the time enough to pursue that in the same way. Hello! And that... Hitting the babies does not aggro the parents. That is very interesting. Because whether the big Kukasaurus aggroes, it's entirely based on stepping into certain sort of spots where they aggro. Of course, there's no real demarcation of where that is, but before that, they don't trigger combat mode. And they're not even damageable. It really is crazy. Let's go in here. Okay. And really up top, we'll just go down, take the other warp pipe, and we're... Yep, we're pretty close to looping back to where we started our Ochkanatlan trip. Decently enough. And another pipe right there. Nothing of real note, but of course, it's in the interest of thoroughness. I will never forget how in Sarai Island, you actually had to take almost all of the Little Thunder warp gates to get everything, because a number of, pretty big number of Electroculi were just in Thunder Spheres, or between Thunder Gates that you might imagine were for traversal, but no, they were just for the puzzle. So where then is... What's that? What? Barrel? Oh, we probably have to blow that up. Which isn't something we can hit with Geo or anything, but can we break that? No. Or, wait. Oh, so it's sort of metaphorical, I imagine. You're supposed to... Oh, wait. You send it at the wall, and it makes you sort of think about... blowing it up? Maybe. Don't know what just happened, why or how, but I am not going to complain. So what's all in here? It definitely blew up the one way to let you see it, but I think you could sort of see there's soaring eyes to sort of check the other side and see the way in. It's fine. It's probably a chest or something. That's our path. Interesting. Presumably incense. Oh, and this? This is just a cave that's here. Oh, this also links to Winding Ancient Road. It's probably that one segment with the door that I had no idea how to get to. So this is just another way, and of course there's a portion of Ashflow Street. So there are multiple ways that you can be directed to the underground. I like that. It's fun. And please don't get your shield up. We were able to blitz you down fast enough. Very nice. Cool. Oh, wait. Let me see. And I thought for a second that there might be a wall that's actually illusory that Nightwind might be able to see and get past, but no. It's not what's going on here. It's just this little cave, no real demarcation or denotation. There's one treasure chest and another. Fun enough. Cool. Can't get through there, and I don't remember what I was supposed to have seen. Oh, you were probably supposed to light the torch. Okay. With the barrel. Okay. Well, that was simple enough, fun enough, quick enough. Didn't waste my time. Okay. Let's keep on moving. I see there's a significant number of enemies here, and they've got that little abyss buff on them. Interesting. Don't have Coca Week, so not sure what I'm gonna do. That's, yep. No deal stronger. Cool. That might just be for Sean. Oh, they're dead. One more is that. The Kaholosaurus, so we're in combat, but it does not have the same trigger conditions, because it's not part of that group of enemies tied to that chest. Okay. And that, again, is not a physics object, we can't break it. Sad, really. Kaholosaurus, well... Is this high up or low down enough for it to really qualify for... So I'll handle here. I guess it will. Let's be thorough. Okay. Try to leave as little for tomorrow as possible. Let's switch to you. Come on. Keep sprinting for a little bit of extra speed, and this is where we cut things off. Cool. Let me see, I went through here and... Yep, the other one that's halfway. Fun. Not really. And of course, everything in the middle, so to speak, is getting left for tomorrow. We'll crank that out as fast as possible, and then do Varesa's Trouble Chronicle / story quest / what have you. It is amusing in a dark kind of way that the Tribal Chronicles being sort of about the tribe, rather than being about the 5-star really, or at least ostensibly, was kind of honestly an excuse to basically write Kinich out of his own Tribal Chronicle. Though of course that's probably a little tinfoil. But even so. Yeah, so we got all this down here. Let's mark that for special handling tomorrow. We're running out of pins. Great. Okay. Here we go. Top and... Okay, that just sends me out to the exact same location. Useful and significant. There was a point to that. Yeah. Let's go down at the bottom of the waterfall. I know this also corrects the same ancient race of your area. Okay. Around here again, it's this island, and then... Oh, is this a little cave too? Oh, maybe that's where... Yeah, that's probably where. So there... Yeah, there are 2 ways to get in. I like that. To make sure that missing Ixalau is not easy. I think that doesn't deal damage. Hi, hello. Let's get Nuxels close and going. Here we are. And you're frozen in adaptive countermeasures too, which is nice. Cool. And before you stop, we'll just heal you up. Even got all your energy back. I put it. Got 98 of that. Fun. Hi. And shows up under elemental sight, but what am I gonna actually do to make this move? And guess who's out of pins? Me. Okay. Great. And around doesn't show anything in particular. We got a Tenebrous Mimesis Goholosaurus ride by a Mora rock. What I like to see, I suppose. Not really. Not really that we can use that without being too much waste. How you doing? Citlali did it. Nice. See, above all of your attacks and here we are. Great. More rocks, and they are usually sort of outsized in terms of the exploration contribution too. Not to 99 though. Be fun to get to 100 before the end of everything, especially since it would be rather misleading. Yeah, but it's a little more around here. We'll loop around, make sure we do the upper segments tomorrow. Just pick up right where we left off. Thank you. Down this way. Good stuff. And, okay, cool. Chasca. Around the bottom area, which is... There's corn. It's not nothing. Just very little. Okay. These 2 little islands here. Check those out as well. I think Quinine was here before, but of course, if so, when we came here, we would have been focused on that quest and not much else. This is separate enough that we can just do this right now. Doesn't go up top right now. Mimesis, chest... Anything? It may be a Pyroculus before, but not now, obviously. Come on, come on. Okay. Check this here. And... interesting. So you're right over this way. Oh? Touch. Okay, so that just summons you to fight. Not gonna turn into birds. You don't have the privilege. Thanks. Go through. There we go. Nice. Might have been a... No, there wouldn't have been a chest there just now. Don't imagine. Yeah, but this part up top will do next time. Kalohasaurus. Hi. And let's do that. Didn't need to do that. Oops. There's all sorts of melted and vaporized. Yeah, they dropped mint. That's not how that worked. So is that Kukasaurus gonna come down and fight me when I approach the center here, or what? Oh, that wakes you up then. Okay. Plunge back down. That mushroom. Hi. Touch, we have to go from the other side. Thanks. Stay above you entirely. It is amusing how many enemies the kid just gets shut down by Chasca flying too high. The funniest one is the... Oh. Fontaine Plunge boss. But they're also... In a good way, in a good way. Cool. In the same way that a number of enemies can be trivialized by Varesa, Chevy, Mavica, Yansan team triggering so many overloads that the enemies end up staggered. Okay, nothing really here. Mint. Mint. Amazement. Conk. Oh, that's nothing. I miss when Inazuma had breakable pots. Not that it was important, but it's fun. Take you down. Hello. And it's... You're gonna be a ruined guard. Yep, exactly. We have dealt a good amount of damage already. Nice. Thanks. And... That's... Oh, we already killed and that just went to waste. It's fine. It's cool seeing Chasca's burst from far away. That's enough consolation prize for it, I think. Maybe. Someone else up there. So I wonder what, if anything, will happen when we, I guess, take down all those Night Soul Warriors in this area. I kind of feel like taking that one down then. You're gonna be right there. Now, that's just a bird. Interesting. And it even went away. So in that case, I wonder, and I guess I'm gonna have to take a pin off. Oops. Well, that's not really accurate anymore. Just maybe shoot that abyss bird from far away and see if it does anything. Just drop abyss meat. That's not gonna happen. Okay. Other way. Close to back here now. Loop around. I'll put some furniture through the furniture cycle. It'll be all good. Don't stop. Over here, take it out. Thanks. Do that jump with Milani and presumably get nothing. I like how you can see the little bit of orange and the water that the Kaholosaurus spits. And we... Oops. And guess we are not high enough. Let's see. Mavica, are you tall enough? You're not. We actually have to just use Kazu or something. Kaholosaurus is low enough? They are low enough. That's interesting. Okay. Wouldn't help if it were stupidly deep, but it's more than good enough for the circumstances. Yeah, that... Unclear what that was for. That's okay. And this is how we would access that part of Ancient Race of Yore that we couldn't be Yore. Totally broken ancient secret source mechanism. Oh, and the purple blooms are here. And most interestingly, this was always accessible. Just didn't want to go around the side, but quest or no quest, we could have always gone here. Fine. And a Saurian warrior in here, just a normal dude, presumably doing some treasure hunting. Today is a bad day to be here. Too bad. Too bad. And what? More people showing up? No, that just opens that door. Okay. So that's another way to start the Open Your Heart to me. So purification and calm. 5 more oculi. Wow. Well, as in right now. Well, not even right now, just in these known areas. Of course, there's plenty more in the volcano, but we're not going there right now. So this right here. Yep. Little citadel. Should be at least one thing that's going to fight me. Okay. Let's fight. Hello there. Hi. And how many of your... We got company. Bad company. Can't do that. Okay. That was the funniest possible result. Getting frozen. Yeah, we've leaped back. See here. Right down here is to the left, so to speak. The things on the walls. See a bit of Ashflow Street. I have to drop down from there, but of course it's easier than climbing up. Okay. Go for it. Go for it. What do we got to scan it? Mora Rock and measly 99. This final chest gonna make it look 100, even though we got 5 oculi left, probably. What's the lever gonna do? Bet we need to move that platform to... Bet this is gonna close the gate and open the chest, so we gotta... Yep. Have to use the plank to just keep it open. Just prop it open. There we are. Fine. And that just can't be scanned anymore. Oh well. Fun. Still just 99. Kind of offensive. But that's okay. Can't spin that lever, can't read that anymore, so... Fair enough. Let's claim our created furnishings. Set a few more furnishings to be made. Then I think that will be a good amount for today. Go on the actual central tower tomorrow, and that will be nice. Bapeka. Take the creations out of their queue. Display uncreated. Vessel of purification and calm. An exquisitely crafted ceramic jar with considerable capacity and a distinctive design reflective of the Masters of the Nightwind. Whether used for storage or fermentation, it is highly functional. The jar's unique painted design and its lid shaped like an Ectomosaurus, you see the horns, said to possess the power to ward off evil and bring peace. However, aside from its aesthetic appeal, it is no different from an ordinary jar. That supposed protective powers likely being psychological rather than supernatural. Just likely, okay. Or path. The sensor, shaped nearly like an Ectomosaurus, is nearly the same height as an Ectomosaurus chick and is adorned with intricate graffiti-style paintings, making it suitable for both practical use and decoration. It is said that in certain mystical systems, spirituality is closely linked to an individual's mental world. When a novice attempts meditation or clairvoyance, the imagery of the surrounding environment can have unpredictable effects on their mental state, necessitating careful selection of the setting. Perhaps based on this concept, artisans designed this sensor in the shape of an Ectomosaurus, aiming to have its visage accompany and protect the user, guiding them on the right path. Curious countenances of the sacred flame. You see these masks. Common type of open-air stall in Chu'ulel Fair, primarily used for selling masks inspired by the various tribal cultures. Holy crap, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Low overheads make it a popular choice among merchants as seasonal goods demand for mass peaks during festivals and competitions while footfall dwindles in the off-season. To address this, mass vendors have introduced a service that allows customers to create their own mass, offering a novel experience, quote-unquote, that has itself become a sellable product after all. It's not something they're used to experiencing in their everyday lives. Alluring flavors of the sacred flame. Open-air stall featuring a distinctive sign in the shape of an Ictomisaurus, brimming with a liquid. Its unique design makes the store's specialty unmistakable even from afar. Right, the drink stand. This liquid, the essence of a special beverage, must be exposed to direct sunlight for a prolonged period of time before it can reach its optimal flavor due to space constraints within the stadium of the sacred flame. Merchants had nowhere else to store these containers, so they placed them on the roofs of their stalls, creating a striking visual amidst the bustling grounds. Over time, this practice became Chocolatl Beverages' defining feature and has since been incorporated into the stall's permanent branding. Our destination. Death? War? It's a bit morbid. Finely crafted weapon rack made from premium quality stone, carefully selected by the artisan who made it, adorned with exquisite metal fittings. It's primarily used for displaying weapons, can be found in the Temple of Pax within the Stadium of the Sacred Flame. It's said that some of the weapons of the Temple of Pax's weapon wall once belonged to warriors who achieved great fame. Past competitions for these warriors, the weapons were not just companions in battle, but extensions of their very souls. Given the fiery nature of their spirits, perhaps the best place for their honor to reside is within the stadium grounds, where their legacy endures. Pilgrimage of Flame. Massive forge modeled after the Forge of Refuge in the Temple of Pax. It lacks the original's biggest empowered functionality. Its performance still rivals the original thanks to Tubby's adaptable power. Not when poets often use metal smelting as the metaphor for a warrior's life, the journey from being a lump of inconspicuous rock into something that has been discovered, of crude impure iron being turned into resilient, unyielding steel. Perhaps the comparison is apt, for just as metal may be hardened through higher temperatures and repeated hammering, so too does a warrior grow stronger the more trials and tribulations they face. Fair table, uncut original. A low table constructed from unpolished stone and raw white chestnut oak wood. Covered with a purple tablecloth that exudes a subtle sense of mystery, can be found in Molestone House in Chu'ulel Fair. It's said that some of the Masters of the Night Wind believe that the environment in which materials are crafted can have a significant impact on the end product. Such, they tend to prefer using items that are still in a raw, unrefined state, such as tables that have not yet been meticulously polished. Forever in Arms, a massive torch constructed with a square stone pillar as its base and a circular metal brazier used for illumination and navigation. It is one of the most iconic architectural elements within the Stadium of the Sacred Flame. Spiral patterns engraved on the pillar, you see these up here beneath the brazier, are thought to be simplified versions of Saurian graffiti. Rika's biggest engraving originated with the dragons. Perhaps the fact that such patterns have been engraved throughout all corners of the stadium symbolizes the lifestyle shared by the people and Saurians of Natlan, living alongside each other, companions forever and always. Cute. Bear Witness. Oh, there are Saurians, not bears. Brazier meticulously carved from the finest volcanic rock, adorned with special painted motifs, and an ornate base inlaid with luxurious metal fittings. Brooding away with a solemn dignity, these braziers can be seen near the main pathways within the Stadium of the Sacred Flame. Natlan is the nation of flame, where flames are not only a symbol of belief, but also a source of inspiration. So if its people place braziers along its main pathways, the main pathways within the stadium itself, and in the speaker's chamber, ensuring that all significant events are witnessed by the watchful flames. And wooden signboard enchanting experience. Simply yet lively signboard crafted from durable flammable wood, adorned with special patterns that are said and inspired by Chocolatl Beverages, renowned throughout Natlan. The shop prides itself on offering the most whimsical and enchanting taste experiences around. It's why its owner has gone for such a vibrant and imaginative design, aiming to pique customers' curiosity and entice them to explore the shop's offerings. Nice. Okay, what's the stuff about the beverage shop? Also, I think I realized that... No, Mizuki is still in fact here, and that's good. Yep, and a couple more days should take her to 10. Probably on Monday, so I'll do my dailies before I do bosses on Monday, so I can use Yansan, Varesa, Shevati for those bosses, and get that all squared away, so... Make sure Abyss will... That'll be some time. We'll see. Do you want to get Varesa to 90? She can probably manage with just borrowing artifacts from Kinich and I think Beto, actually. It's Beto's goblet that she has. Get her own set eventually, but not at the moment. Not really needed. The base refreshes in a couple weeks. Got time for that. Imaginary Theater refreshes in a couple days, but we clear that all out so we can get another couple keys and probably run Diaz. Diaz or Ventis. Spend the keys on Kirara. It's kind of a waste, because don't have her at 90 right now, but it is what it is. And yeah, just areas on top of all these areas, shoreline areas I went to before, and then, of course, Tenatia, Core of Chu'ulel, which is hard to really show on the map, and then all of this. Don't imagine there will be many chests left, except maybe around Ashflow Street, but yeah, you know, gotta double check. There might be more rocks, so. Thank you to everyone who watched and everyone who didn't. See you around, and yeah, Sonarag and